July brought Hurricane Beryl. The hurricane made early season history, moving from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane in a matter of hours. By the time it made landfall in Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Barbados, it was classified as a Category 4 hurricane. High winds blew away trees, power lines, and roofs. Although St. Lucia was spared any major damage, the island was pelted by heavy rains and strong winds. Some parts of the island were harder hit than others. Soufrière, for example, was inundated by the storm surge generated by Hurricane Beryl, leaving a huge section of the town underwater.
Yes, we've had some damages in the agricultural sector, but thank God this time around Fosha-Jacques is spared because, every serious hurricane, Fosha-Jacques is the first community that always gets the brunt of it. This time, the crops are damaged, but lives are not lost. So again, we have to say thank God. We have been working with the farmers, as you know, before. We will continue working with them. The Lord give and the Lord take away.
The system caused flooding and landslides in other parts of the country and destroyed property in some areas. The north of the island saw several landslides and multiple homes being destroyed. Several houses suffered damage to their roofs. Several families were reportedly displaced.
These are only preliminary assessments by first responders who will report in 48 hours to the National Emergency Operations Center. Meanwhile, from this evening, response crews are on the ground, clearing fallen trees, debris, and clogged waterways to allow for ease of movement. Reports reaching us indicated that our sister islands of Grenada, Petite Martinique, Cairico, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines experienced serious damage, and the task of rebuilding will be challenging.
The Prime Minister called on all St. Lucians to assist the people of neighboring Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Banana and plantain farmers were once again the hardest hit by Hurricane Beryl, underscoring the need for crop insurance as the farmers contended with another setback to their livelihoods.
This morning, I drove into Lacaille, La Ressource, as far as Denny Rivier, from what I've seen visually. There is some damage. I cannot tell you exactly what the percentage is now. We just came from with my team in the south. When compare the damage in the south to what I have seen so far, especially in the valley, it seemed to be a lot worse in the valley. But the damage is nothing near what we had last year with Brett.
Altogether, 34% of St. Lucia's agriculture sector was damaged. On July 2nd, the Prime Minister toured the damage in the worst-hit communities in Soufrière and Labrie. The Infrastructure Minister, Stephenson King, reported minimal damage to the island's infrastructure.
Much of our response was about clearing of roads, fallen trees, unblocking of culverts and drains, really minor incidents of interruption. In one or two cases, we were called upon to at least clear up some of the waterways, ravines, etc.
Despite being spared a direct hit from Beryl, the government pointed to several deficiencies that the storm had exposed and which needed to be addressed. Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire proposed legislation to guide information dissemination during future natural disasters, following complaints about the lack of timely information on the storm and its development. Civil engineer John Peters suggested incentives and tax breaks as a way to persuade citizens to build or retrofit homes to be climate resilient. The island recorded its 42nd homicide mere hours into July. 31-year-old Kevin Dupree, alias Bim Bim, was killed in a drive-by shooting at Bacatel Castries. 2 weeks later, 31-year-old Cardell Amadei would be gunned down at his shop in Bardney. At a candlelight vigil held in Amadei's honor, his family appealed for peace and an end to the bloodshed, but the plea would seemingly fall on deaf ears. By the final weeks of July, the island had recorded its third fatal police shooting for the year. The result was open threats against the lives of lawmen. The threats followed the fatal shooting of Maxwell Leo, alias Hennessy. Maxwell was said to be known to the police and described as a notorious gang leader. He was on bail for a firearm possession charge when he sustained the fatal gunshot injuries. ACP Luke de Freitas sent a strong message out that the RSLPF would not sit idly by and allow threats to be made against the police officers. The RSLPF has vowed to pursue relentlessly those responsible for the threats.
The Royal St. Lucia Police Force condemns those attacks and will do all that is legally possible to protect its members. Investigators will seek to identify and pursue without fail all persons responsible. Section 114 of the Criminal Code of St. Lucia makes it an offense for a person to threaten another with death or grievous harm with intent to put that other person in fear of death or grievous harm, and is liable on conviction and indictment to imprisonment for 5 years or on summary conviction to imprisonment for 2 years.
News of the threats against law enforcement was confirmed by a leaked internal police intelligence document. Commissioner of Police, Cressida Descartes-Pelleus, promised that a full investigation would be launched into the leaking of internal documents.
It is something not just my organization should take serious, but all organizations. And that is why I said the matter is under investigation and the appropriate actions will be taken.
Is it an internal investigation or outside investigation?
The matter is under investigation and the appropriate actions will be taken.
The 46 and 47 homicides occurred in close proximity to each other, both in time and location. 38-year-old Devon Maximin was fatally shot in a suspected ambush near a community preschool where he was picking up his 3-year-old daughter. Darius Augustine was shot near a school at Balata while students attended a summer program nearby. The death of an uncle and nephew would bring the homicide toll past the 50 mark. 39-year-old Angus Jeffrey and 22-year-old Ernest William were shot in La Richou's Dennery, where they sold alcohol and cigarettes. The Carnival Planning and Management Committee was patting itself on the back in July for successfully staging multiple events, including several Junior Calypso events, the Intercommercial House Calypso competition, and the Groovy and Power Soca Monarch competitions.
We started off the weekend on Friday with the Intercommercial House competition, where Ernie J from the Workers' Credit Union secured the title in what was definitely an exciting competition. It was nice to see Intercommercial Calypso return into its true fashion of being the largest dance party and being just about entertainment and pure vibes. But we do have to say, in keeping with Lucian Carnival for 2024, the quality of the music that we saw being performed at Intercommercial far exceeded our expectations.
As with every carnival season, there was some controversy. The debate about the use of sporting facilities for entertainment events was revived, with the Youth and Sports Minister complaining about the exorbitant cost of repairs to these facilities in the aftermath of shows as the main reason to restrict their use exclusively to hosting sporting events. Despite the protests, the SAB playing field would still host the Calypso final as well as the King and Queen of the Bands competition. Fusion Mass and Tribe of 12 would be crowned King and Queen of the Bands. There was more controversy surrounding the Calypso final competition, which saw the winners being booed. There were reports of disturbances backstage, which required police intervention.
I have faith in the system, it has always worked, and I believe personally, when I reflect on what I saw, the results were in my mind acceptable. I have no problems with what the judges came up with, and as far as I'm concerned, because I trust the process, I accept the decision.
The 2024 Calypso Monarch, Desrel, emerged from the competition with 785 points. He scored 49, more than the first runner-up, T.C. Brown, a former Monarch himself. Brown's win in 2001 was not a popular one either. He was escorted off the stage by a police entourage. There were also issues with the Soca Monarch competition and Carnival Queen pageant judging criteria, which led to Minister for Culture, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, later indicating the possibility that the judging criteria for carnival-related competitions would be reviewed.
We can have an award for people's choice. So, allow the public to decide who is their king. But, I mean, the crowd too can be biased in some ways. But the point, though, is, and at the end of the day, is what is presented as the ideal winning song. And why, for example, you have Export St. Lucia has an award for the most exportable song. Because the most exportable song might not necessarily be the most, favored song by the crowd. For all you know, the latest release might win road match, but and because it might just become the thing of the day.
Carnival revelers would come out in full display for the 2-day parade of the bands. The notorious Bum Bum Wall also made a major comeback. The 11 costume bands participating in Lucian Carnival were joined by 3 bands from Guadeloupe. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force reported a relatively incident-free carnival. The Carnival Bands Association expressed some concern about a decline in local participation in Lucian Carnival and an increase in foreign participation.
We're trying to figure out what is the cause of that. Some of the smaller bands, like a Tribe of 12, actually won. Congratulations to them. The Island Tribe, the Expressions, the Royal Lights, these bands really had to struggle this year. Struggle for sponsorship, struggle for revelers and so on. So realize that so 2 things are happening. There is growth and there is similarly issues on the local level.
St. Lucia tourism officials, meanwhile, were over the moon about the number of regional and international celebrities who had touched down on the island for the carnival celebrations.
The St. Lucia Tourism Authority partnered with several influencers as well as celebrities and media to really shed spotlight on the carnival product. We've done it in the past and we're continuing to do it because, of course, we see the value in it. When it comes to the selection process, we associate with people who can really bring to life the carnival element. So you must also have we do have a criteria that we use. These influencers and celebrities must also have a certain level of following.
The list included Natalie Emmanuel from Game of Thrones, Nigerian sensation, singer, dancer, content creator Koro Obidi, actress, musician, content creator, comedian Jessie Wu, soca artiste Patrice Roberts, Miss Jamaica World 2022 Shanique Singh, and American singer-songwriter Chloe Bailey. The 2024 Lucian Carnival also attracted a host of local, regional, and international music artists.
There's not one thing that you could really say about St. Lucia. St. Lucia has a lot of good things going for it in terms of a carnival. It has its own identifiable sound as well, and then the integration of, let's say, even the French Caribbean, the bouillon, along with the Lucian sound, the Dennery segment. It just has a lot going for it. The women, guys, there's not much to say, but...
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre seemed happy with the final outcome.
I want to thank all the visitors and tell them to return. Make Carnival a feature of the holiday calendar. So all in all, I think we had a good season, and we look forward to next year's Carnival celebrations.